Any second now. I'm going to just go back into the group and check if we are live.
Yay, and we are live.
Oh, can you see that?
It says on mine, live on Facebook, meeting is now streaming.
Yes, we are live. We are live. Hoo-hoo. Welcome, Wendy. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to get stuck into one of my favorite.
Oh, we lost you there.
Topics, messaging. Oh, hang on a minute. Let me just make sure I'm on the right internet provider. Steve? Sorry, peeps, error on my part. Okay, sorry, everybody. Being in Thailand, we have several different internet connections because the quality isn't unfortunately as good as it used to be since lockdown. So I'm just going to hop on over to the other network. Sorry, I should have done this before I came on. Can you hear me okay now though? Is everything okay?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant. So Wendy, today is Wendy Wednesdays in the We Tell Stories tribe. And the purpose of Wendy Wednesdays, as the name indicates, is to share the wealth of knowledge. So we bring in an expert and they talk to us on a particular topic, which today is how to craft your elegant marketing message that captures the hearts and minds of your audience and punches well above its weight. And I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you. So let's get started and let's understand a little bit about who's Wendy and what's her story.
Gosh, where do I start? Well, let's start at the beginning, but go through it very quickly. Let's time travel. So I was born to parents of alcoholics, went into care, had a really tough time growing up, and also discovered that I was dyslexic at the age of about 15 and a half. I think it's 15 and a half. So I was just coming out of education. I then went into work, lots of different jobs, found it really hard to fit in because the dyslexia, you have a different way of thinking when you're dyslexic, and not everybody accepts that in organizations. They would like to say that they do, but actually it can be quite hard work when you are dyslexic in an organization. Plus, combined with all the other baggage I had from the past, it wasn't a very good combination. So I found myself getting in situations where I was bullied quite a lot. And then the last organization I worked for, I just decided enough's enough. I can't take this anymore, and started my own business. So that's like the speeded up version. And here I am today.
What is this business?
So this business has definitely had a journey. So I started off the business as a life coach, and I found it really difficult to sell my services, to sell what it is I was doing, because I didn't understand how to package what it is that I was offering. That naturally moved into a space of helping people with their social media, because that is predominantly around communication. And then I started to work specifically with female entrepreneurs who have a message that makes an impact, to help them create a signature suite, which basically creates the foundation of the business and sets their pricing, sets their packages. So that's what I've been doing up to this point. Now, with everything that is going on, I'm just about to change the business again after some extensive research that I've just carried out. So it's going to be a combination of strategy and done for you.
Oh, brilliant. That's so exciting. And what an inspiring story you have going into care. And I can only imagine what it must have been like how hard it would have been, and reaching where you have reached, Wendy. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I guess I've got quite a few stories, and it's always difficult to think about which one to pick. It's interesting. I was doing a course on, I think it was PR, and I wrote out all my little stories, and then the PR person turned around to me and said, "You're not a soap opera. You don't want to pick a story that puts you on a soapbox sort of thing."
Mm.
I was thinking, well, that is my story, that is my life, those are the experiences it is that I've had. So I always have that in the back of my mind of, should I say that? Should I not say it? Yes, I've got lots of stories, and they are quite heavy. I tend to stick with the money story coming from a place of lack.
Yeah.
I tend to stick.
Well, I would say everything that you have been through, they're all part of your stories, and it is not someone else's place to pass that judgment and say that it's not a soap opera. And
Yeah.
so one, that was out of line, and second thing is, your story is your story, and you will do it in a way that feels right for you, that feels safe for you. So
Yeah, it's an interesting comment, isn't it? It's like, what's behind that? I didn't question it at the time, but I do think now, I do have that sort of like niggle in the back of my mind. Which you
yeah.
don't want.
When I help people with their stories, I help them share their story, find their story, and share it in a way that feels right to them, right for them, and they feel safe. And I let them get very vulnerable. So it is possible that the person who made this comment to you, they weren't very comfortable with vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
that's a possibility. But anyway, so let's talk about what we have come here to talk about: how to craft your elegant marketing message that captures the hearts and minds of your audience and punches well above its weight. Wow. That's a fantastic topic. And I love it because you're talking about elegance in the marketing message. As business owners, we have got to learn to market our business. That's a skill we can't do without. And what really caught my attention in this topic that you chose, Wendy, is that you are talking about the heart, you're talking about the mind, so it's the full package. So let's hear from you, the expert.
Yeah, let's just start with the elegant bit, I guess, because I see the elegant bit as being us, as being part. We are our message. Our message is our business DNA. It's what's unique to us. The elegance is how we like to work. So it's really connecting to that from the inside out. And that's how you can then elegantly talk about your message, because it's completely aligned, it's totally succinct with who you are, what your values are, and what it is that you stand for. So it brings a real nice elegant touch to it. And I only work with women, so I can only talk from the perspective of working with women. And it's nice, it's amazing to see when a woman connects to really understanding what her message is and how she can elegantly speak her message without it being, like an elevator pitch or just dry, dull. It's got no vavavoom to it. It just is. They don't connect to it, and when they don't connect to it, they've got no energy attached to it. The bit you want is the energetic bit. That's the elegance of it, the connection of it, because that's what sells is that energetic. I love my message. I fully step into it. I own it. I stand by it. And that, I'm sure you've experienced this working with your clients. That is actually the hardest bit for a lot of people, to really step up and take ownership of a message, especially when they're working in business and they're working towards results with a client.
Yeah. What you just said makes so much sense, and I'll get into it. But we have an audience here building up. We have Jill here, and she says, "Hi, Hi, Jill. Thank you for joining us. What you just said, Wendy, resonates so much because when I set up my business and hired a fancy coach, my focus was I want to sell, I want to
Mm,
serve, but to be able to serve, I need people. And so I want to sell, get clients. And all the focus was on what sells instead of what is my message and who I am. And there was
yeah,
a disconnect. It was
yeah,
a big fiasco, let's say that. None of it worked. And things moved only when I stopped looking outside of myself and stepped away from all of that. Well, there is huge power in working with a coach and mentor, obviously.
yeah,
But we have got to align ourselves with who we are. Otherwise, none of it will work.
yeah, yeah. Totally. Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, you need a coach or a mentor to help you
Yes.
to navigate you through creating the right message.
Yeah.
I was talking to a client a couple of days ago, and she was testing one of her messages, and she said she was absolutely gobsmacked because the message that she had chose that she liked, no one picked. But the other three messages that she crafted after going through a process of working together, they were the ones that were popular, but the ones that she crafted herself just weren't fitting the audience it is that she wants to work with. And she was absolutely gobsmacked.
Mm.
If she hadn't worked with somebody, she would have created a product that doesn't sell.
Mm.
And it's only a language thing. It's not that the results are different. It's not that the work that she's going to do with them is different. It is purely because I keep looking at the wrong camera. It's purely because if I'm looking a bit weird, it's because I keep forgetting to look at the right
No, you're
camera.
fine.
um, yeah, she would have really gone off track. Yeah, so what she's delivering on isn't different. It's just how you craft a message that resonates with the people it is that you want to work with. And that's just a language. That's just being able to connect with them emotionally and use their language.
So, are we talking about a clever play on words here? If it is,
Um,
if it is
no,
only language.
yeah, no. I mean the well, actually, yes and no. I'm just thinking that over. Right. Okay. The language has to be in context with your. So the message we were testing was the description of her offer, of her program. So she's got her elegant marketing message that clearly defines who she works with, what the problem is, what the results it is she helps them get, and also about her personality and how she likes to work. That sounds a bit complicated, but it's really not that complicated. So there are a lot of words within that. As long as the language connects with that initial message, so it's all in flow, then it's fine. So it is a play on words because you're looking at your elegant marketing message and you're looking at the results and you're thinking, how can I shape this into a signature program? So you are actually moving around words. So it is a play on words, but they've got to be the right words from the original message for it to work. So it's got to have structure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, structure is hugely important in any kind of messaging. Where do you
Yeah.
see business owners go wrong? What are some of the most common mistakes they commit when it comes to their messaging?
The biggest mistake I see is that people is what I just said is people don't check out what people are that what people want to buy. They don't, so they will make the message really short and not specific enough. So it's what I see is a lot of blog posts, a lot of what used to be blog posts and have now turned into messages for programs, which is never going to work because it's not descriptive enough. So what's happening is they're not fully understanding the problems their clients have, the challenges, they're not fully understanding the results. They're a bit frightened about being committed to saying that they help their clients get results. So there's the whole research piece that is missing, which really undermines the message. I think that is the biggest thing that I see, is people don't take the time to really just connect and ask their audience what's going on. I mean, I've just spent a month doing a piece of research, and I have just crafted a new message, and it's taken me 50 people, 50 women to craft this message. So I know, hand on heart, it's completely on point. And people don't do that bit, and they need to do that bit. It's important. It's the difference that makes the difference.
Yes, yes. And all the time and effort and energy that goes into that research and understanding our audience is just so important, because we can speculate what people want, but that may be completely off the mark.
It will be totally off the mark. I guarantee you, if you don't do it, it will be completely off the mark. This is why
I know it, because I've done that mistake.
I have as well. And the other thing I also say as well is, and you probably say this as well, is that don't ever create a program until you've sold it. Don't ever create it. As long as you have the structure, you know what you're taking people through, you know you can deliver on results, go and sell it, and then create it. Because if you do it the other way around, you're going to lose 3-6 months in your business with no clients. And it will probably never sell because you haven't done the research in the first place.
And then there'll be an awful lot of tweaking going on, and in the process you would beat yourself up, and you would think, I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm not good enough. The whole all those rubbish stories will come up. How do I know? I've done all of it.
Absolutely. You will really go into self-doubt mode, and you can cut out all of that drama, all of that, just by thinking about who can you reach out to and ask some questions and have a conversation with, and then formulate the message from there. But it's why so many online courses don't sell. I mean, I'm not a fan of online courses anyway, but it's one of the reasons why they don't sell is because the whole research piece hasn't been done. And plus they haven't evidenced that what they're delivering on even works. It's another thing. But anyway, that's not about messaging. That's just about online courses.
That's correct. One, it is hard to sell online programs because the human touch is so limited. And when people do invest in the online programs, very few of them actually complete them.
I think it's something like 5% in the whole industry. The whole industry, 5%. And yet it's $1 billion industry. There's a lot of ethical questions around the whole course creation hamster wheel.
Yes, that can be a separate conversation in itself.
I don't want to start ranting.
Well, they have their place as long as somebody puts in the time and the effort to go through them. Otherwise, it's just a fancy piece of information-based product that is sitting somewhere on your laptop. So people still have to do the work. And I think that pretty much applies to anything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about capturing the hearts and the minds of our audience, because not many people get this balance, this combination right. Some people see themselves as in the head people. They find all the cognitive kind of messaging attractive. Some people are more, they call themselves heart-based, soulful people. But when we can bring the two together, that's where the magic really happens. So talk to us about it.
You have to bring the two together. In my view, you have to bring the heart and the head together in business. They need to balance. It's like yin and yang. They need to complement one another. If you are in your heart too much, the business isn't going to move forward at the same speed as if you bring the heart and the head together. If you are in your head too much, it's just going to be a real hard grind. You know, you just on it. they're total opposites. So it's about aligning the two together, which is a challenge. However, in a message, it's relatively straightforward because the framework I've created enables you to connect with the prospect emotionally. So the first thing we do is we identify who the client is. So they can go, oh, yeah, that's me. That's what I'm struggling with. So I crafted this message. This is the message that I've initially crafted from the research. So I'll use this as an example because I can talk you through the steps, if that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentor established female entrepreneurs who are driven to make a global impact, doing what they love, working with their clients. So I mentor established female entrepreneurs, they're driven to make an impact, and they want to work with more clients. So that's head, that's me, yep. Someone can easily identify themselves with who I work with. So that's my client group. Then we move on into
qualified people there. I really like how you have qualified people there. So you have qualified people based on the gender, and you have said, I work with established business owners.
Yeah.
That kind of takes away a whole segment away.
Yeah, it does. So female entrepreneurs, established female entrepreneurs, they're driven to make an impact. I don't work with anybody who isn't either making an impact in business or life in the transformational space. Just that's a bit too wordy. And also, the clients that I want to work with want to do more one-to-one work or small group immersion. So I'm not into the, the lower price. This is all about value, having your clients' backs, really being there for them. So that is a different type of person to someone who just wants to create online courses.
Yeah.
So it's really clear. So that person goes, yeah, got it with you, that's me.
Yeah.
So emotionally, when we are talking about emotion, we're talking about the challenges and the frustration and the pain it is that they are experiencing. So my next sentence is, but they feel stuck, overwhelmed, they're hiding in an endless list of things to do, have a scattergun approach, are doing everything and don't have enough hours in the day to take the business to the next level. So this is how we connect to them emotionally, because that's the pain they're experiencing. They're overwhelmed, they're stuck, they've got this list of things to do, which they never get done. So the business just isn't growing. They're just stuck on a merry-go-round and they can't. So that's the pain, that's the emotion. Now, does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now we move into the final, almost the final part, the bit before the end. That's not right. That's a very dyslexic way of saying things. Now we're looking at the result, the transformation, the results it is that my clients want. So this is about a combination of how I work and what results I'm going to help them to achieve and I stand by. So I coach them to confidently step up, take back control, prioritize, delegate, and grow a trusted powerhouse team while increasing their visibility, impact, results, and income in half the time, effort, and cost. So those are the results. I'm going to work with them to step up, take back control of the business, learn how to prioritize and delegate, plus grow a team. However, the team will be my team. So that's how I'm going to teach them the delegation and bit, but again, it's too wordy to put in there. So the powerhouse team will be our team, and then they can move on into their own team while increasing their visibility, impact, results, income in half the time, effort, and cost. still feels like it's a bit too wordy to me. But those are the results. That's what people want who are struggling with having a list of too many things to do because they're stuck in the business. And then I add a bit on the end of that in a way that is easy, fun, and divinely feminine, because that's how I like to work. So this is a message that captures the minds and the hearts and is focused in on results. So it's a message that, and this sits in line with a signature program. It's a message that is created, that you step into, that you take ownership of, that you fully embrace, that it's what you want to be known for. It's how you show up in the world. That's how powerful a message can be when you connect to a message that is where your clients are at and where you are coming from in terms of the results and how it is that you like to deliver. So this is how, for me, how it punches well above its weight because of the results element in it.
There are two questions I have for you, Wendy, here. One is, Jill is saying, I won't speak to pain. So what would you say to business owners and coaches who don't want to speak to the pain of their client?
Why not?
I think that's a choice. Jill, if you're here, if you can give us some insight into why you won't do that.
Yeah, why is it that you don't want to speak to the pain of your clients? Because here's the thing, your clients are living and breathing that pain. There's no escaping it. This is what they're struggling with. This is what is on their mind 24/7. By not acknowledging that, I would be concerned that someone is hiding something. And that is only going to be mirrored back to somebody, which is risky, really risky, because that means that you don't want to address their pain, which I don't. Yeah, so I need to understand a bit more as to why you don't want to address their pain.
So she says it's a low way to get clients.
No way, no.
Okay.
It's the only way as far as I'm concerned.
So we clearly have a difference in opinion here.
Yeah, it's the
and
only
I would
way.
Say, yeah, no approach works for everybody.
Yeah, you have to find your own way. I'm a person who works with issues. I'm known for working with issues, sorting them out, and getting resolution and results. I really don't see how it is a low way, because you've got to talk to them about what their challenges are, what their frustrations are, what it is that they're going through, to be able to help them. What if you can't help them? When you have a sales call with somebody, it's really, really critical. It's really important to help them get a sense of reality and to take ownership of the reality of the situation it is that they find themselves in. And to do that, you have got to get into what the problems are, what the challenges are, and you've got to pull them out head on. Otherwise, it will sabotage their success and yours as a coach.
I think it's really important how that is done. Maybe that's where the disconnect in this conversation is. Because there are some people who would acknowledge the pain. I mean, I do that as well, because when a coach speaks to me like that, my thinking is, yeah, they get me. They understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And I do it with people I get into conversations with. But what I don't appreciate and like and support is the shaming bit. I've seen some people kind of shame people into almost submission and saying, hey, if you don't sign up now, your dreams don't matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard.
I happen to be one of those people who didn't sign up.
Wow, I'm not surprised. That's terrible. That's reverse psychology. It's funny. There's a group of marketing coaches who I just cannot stand. And somehow I managed to get a call with one of their salespeople, and he said something to me, and I went, it was something along the lines of, "Oh, you don't want a successful business then?" And I suddenly sat up and found myself going in my head, wanting to answer. Then I said to him, very clever, very clever. I said, "You almost had me there."
They were messing with the wrong girl.
Yeah, I was like, oh, how manipulative, really manipulative. Yeah, this isn't about manipulating people. This is about meeting them where they're at. I think that's a really good way to describe it. It's about meeting that prospect where you're at. And you are only ever calling people who are ready to address the issues it is that you are talking about. I personally like to work really deep with my clients so they can get really big quantum shifts in the business, whether that is around money, whether that is around helping their clients get results. Because if they don't clear that stuff, it's going to be mirrored back to them, and they're going to get stuck with their clients, which no one wants. Yeah, but interesting. It's definitely not how I see it. For sure.
Wendy, we have an audience here. We have Derek, who has joined us from the US. We have Jenny joining us from South Africa. And we have Jace. Yeah, we have Jace joining in from London. She lives not too far from where I am based. And Jill is joining from Wales. So, we have an audience here.
Fantastic. So keep those questions coming.
Yes. So let me just check if the next question. Jace is saying attitude is key. We accept discussions from a coach where values are aligned. Yeah, if we are in a coaching relationship where values aren't aligned, it's going to just not work out.
Totally. And here's the thing. Let's just make a distinction between coaching, therapy, mentoring, consultation. So in my business, even though I'm qualified as a coach, I don't class myself as a coach. I class myself as a mentor, because otherwise people just aren't going to get the results. I use coaching skills. I use consultation skills. I use a whole bag of training, knowledge, expertise. So this is not coming at it from a pure coaching space, because you couldn't do this. You could not craft a message like this coming from a pure coaching space. This is total opposite of coaching. This is really directive, to the point. You're going to do the work, or I'm going to kick your butt.
I like that.
Very, very. I mean, I do coaching, I do personal coaching, and I do it at a really deep level, but that is a completely different container to this. Yeah. And I keep them very separate. And that is very much about, do I have permission to do this with you? And we're going to set a separate meeting and do it separately, because it needs to have a clean space, and it needs to be contained.
Yeah.
So this isn't coaching. This is full on.
Yeah, this is proper business mentoring.
Yeah, this is business mentoring with a touch of coaching.
Jill is saying, I get it now, just because you explained mentoring versus coaching. She says, okay, I get it now, because she was thinking coaching in her head.
Yeah.
So this really helps. So thank you.
Yeah.
We also have Carolyn joining in from Singapore. I must have missed that.
Wow, you've got a real diverse community. That is awesome.
I have an awesome community. And she says, yo, Singapore in the house.
Welcome, Singapore. I'm just up the road from you, Thailand.
Yeah, not very far. What, couple of hours?
By plane, yeah. Not that we're allowed to leave, but yeah.
Not too far, in the same corner of the world.
It is the same corner of the world, yeah. Yeah, so messaging, it really is key, and it's so important how you step into your message, the same as how you step into your story. And you've got to be really ready to own it. Because if there's anything in your story and anything in your message that you're not ready to share, it just creates I'm not that woo-woo, but I do get it. It creates a different energetic space. So it's almost like having an invisible barrier up in front of you. So if you're not aligned with it, or you're really unsure or uncomfortable about it, then you either leave it out or you work on it and find out what's going on underneath that. And then you ask yourself, shall I put it in or not?
Yeah.
Because you want to bring that barrier down and create that great energetic space as much as possible, because that's ultimately what sells. It's the essence of that.
Yeah. And this ties in so deeply with what you said right in the beginning. Our message has to come from within, because if it doesn't, people will use all different kinds of languages, but they would just not feel that it's the right message. They won't connect with it. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I don't know why, because my message was completely on point. And then I started to go off track a little bit, and I started using 6 figures or more a lot. And what happened was I got more and more unhappy the more I was using it, because it's out of total alignment with my values. So my values are all around, education, making an impact, helping people to make other people's lives better, which actually doesn't involve money at all. It's got nothing to do with money. But I went down that route, and it actually started to make me sick. It started to make me sick, really stressed, really anxious, not enjoying the business. I completely fell out of love with the business, totally. So if your message, if you're not aligned with it, I'd go as far as to say it can actually make you quite ill. Because I was really feeling it.
I remember that conversation with you.
Yeah.
That's when I had come into your world, when you were working on the 6 figure and more.
Yeah. I even got messages saying, Wendy, what are you doing?
Point on.
I wrote back and said something like, this is what my clients want, so this is what I'm having to do, even though I'm not that comfortable with it either. I mean, what was I thinking? And then I wrote back to her a month later and apologized and said, thank you for pointing that out. I obviously just had to learn it for myself. But why do I have to learn that when that's exactly what it is I tell my clients to do?
Well, we all have blind spots, don't we? That's the reason why coaches and mentors need coaches and mentors, because we all have blind spots.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I made this mistake in the beginning when I worked with somebody and my focus was, oh, what sells, and my coach is going to come and rescue me and my business, because I was new in the business world, had always worked in the corporate world, always had the safety and security that came with it. I don't know how to do a business, the rabbit hole stories I had. But you see, I was so reliant on someone else to come and save me, come and rescue me, that I was completely disconnected with who I was. It didn't matter, because they would do it for me. And then people started picking up on my messages. Somebody said it doesn't, depending on the kind of language they used. One of my friends, she's who I like to say, kick up the arse friend.
Yeah.
She is one person who would call me out. And
Brilliant.
She said, what are you doing? What on earth are you doing? And I said, you've got to be in my corner. And she said, I am in your corner. And I got it really nicely from her that day. So that was one version. The second version was somebody said, oh, it doesn't feel in alignment with your energy. Now, back then, I didn't speak that language. Now it's a part of my language. And I didn't quite understand what they meant. And then somebody said, oh, that feels so aggressive and almost intimidating. So people were coming back and telling me it wasn't working for them in their own language. And it was very interesting to see that the reason why that happened was because the common person, the commonality, the common variable there was missing, and that was me.
Yeah.
Because it was all someone else. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. Okay, this is how I do it. It was
Yeah, there's a lot of cookie cutter ideas, templates out there, isn't there? And to me, you just can't craft a message. You just cannot craft a message that way. Messages take time. It's not like, I mean, I can do them quickly because I'm used to doing them quickly, but they take time because people have got to step into them. But there's also that thing that you hear as well, isn't it? When you create a message or you're creating a new message, that some people are gonna, reject it and not like it, but that's okay because you just want to attract the new people it is that you want to work with.
Yeah.
So you've got that going on in your head as well, playing out. So yeah, it really is about just making sure as long as it is fully aligned with what the problems are, how you can fix them, and how you like to work, you can't go far wrong, even if it's in like a process that I take my clients through, because you're coming at it from putting yourself and the client at the center of the business. So it's really person-centered. You're just meeting them in the middle. It's a partnership, it's a relationship. It's not rack 'em and pack 'em and load as many people in as you can. It's not that.
But one thing I would say, like you said, you always have that thing going on in your mind, whether people are liking your message or not. It's really important to be open to the idea that you would want to hear what people say, because this is one of the things I tell my clients when they do public speaking with me, that yes, we have to share our message, and we do our story and share our message from the stage or on the video, however we want to say it, but stay open to the feedback that you are receiving from people, because if the same thing keeps coming back to you, it's time for you to pause and listen.
Yeah, I like that. It is about making a decision about what is the right feedback to listen to and what is the feedback to get rid of. Doing this piece of research over the last month, there's been a couple of people that I've spoken to that have just gone off on a tangent, wanting to give me their advice, telling me not to do it the way that I'm doing it. And honestly, I don't know what was going on for them, but I just dismissed it. But if I'd taken it on board, I would be like, oh my God, it's not going to work. I would have taken on someone else's projection of where they are within their business. So it's being able to make, okay, do I need to take that on board or do I not? What is it that I need to hear? What am I ready to hear? And weighing it up. And you'll know if it's right or not. You'll know if it's right or not. If all the 50 people had said to me, Wendy, this is a really bad idea, forget it. But 2 people out of 50, it's not enough.
Yeah, I was one of those people who absolutely loved what you were doing. So I think it's an ace idea. It's a brilliant idea what you are creating.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to get the feedback.
Yes, and it's going to help so many people.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what both of us want to do, is to make a bigger impact in the world. For me, it's about helping other people to make that impact, which actually it's the same for you. So I'm not actually doing what I would say the personal coaching, the helping people with specific, I guess I am, but I almost feel like I've taken a step back, because I used to work with young people at risk in central London, and that's very much you're in it. You're in the trenches. This feels like I've taken a step back. So I'm removed from it. I'm not sure that's making any sense whatsoever. But I'm not on the ground.
Understand why is it a step back?
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm on the ground. I feel like I'm empowering and enabling other women to go out there and then help much bigger audiences. So I'm doing it from I feel like I'm doing it from a distance. I'm like one step removed.
Ah, I know. I think I know what you're talking about. I call it, I would phrase it differently. I just call it the ripple effect.
Yeah. It's all in my head. It's always all in your head.
It's very similar to what I enjoy doing. I work with coaches, and when they go on to shine through their stories, they just go and do their thing, and then they want to impact so many lives. So
yeah, same thing. Yeah. I guess the difference is that we help people to go and do that one-to-one work. Yeah, I get it in my head, but when I say it, it doesn't seem to come out the right way. But I know what I mean.
I do have a question for you about the results. That was the second question I wanted to ask you. And that is, I have seen you from the time when you were doing the 6 figures messaging to your recent messaging, wherein you talk about the energy, the divine feminine.
Yeah.
I followed your journey. So my question to you is, in the current messaging that you shared with us, thank you for sharing that, because I know it's new and you have just done it.
Yeah.
I know that you are a business mentor who gives people tangible monetary results.
Yeah.
But you hardly mention those results under the outcomes you get people. So my question to you is, why not? And the second question, which stems from what I just said, is we have lots of people here who bring fabulous results for their clients, but they do not have that monetary ROI to show. How would you recommend?
Okay. Yeah.
How would you recommend they do it?
Yeah. Okay. So the first question is, why don't I put the monetary value into the message? Before I crafted this one, I did. So my last message was, I think it was something along the lines of, you will have a premium client in 5 weeks or less. So that was a direct result. Now, that is open to interpretation because it will depend on what someone's charging. But I would expect it to be around $3,000. If they are working one-to-one at a deep level with their clients, I would expect it to be around, 2,500 sterling, 3,000 in dollars. So that I had in my last message, that was in there. It's not in this message. Why isn't it in this message? I think probably because I burnt myself with the 6 figures thing, not in terms of not being able to deliver, but a message not being aligned. And I've kept it more focused in on getting their time back and growing a team. So it's more about the long-term growth of the business and stepping into being more of a leader within the business rather than doing everything. If I was delivering on a signature program, I'd still promise that. That would still be my promise. You'll have a premium client in 5 weeks, depending on which program they enroll for. That is still there in that program, just not in this one.
That's really interesting, Wendy. And it caught my attention because there are people who wouldn't have those results for their clients and they would go on to claim them. And here we
Right.
have somebody who has got those results
Yeah.
and isn't putting them in their
Yeah.
messaging.
I th- I think it's because I'm more aligned with making an impact and getting results than I am with money.
Mm.
So for me to own this, I've got to be 100% comfortable with it. And this energetically feels right to me. So when I speak to someone, when I have a one-to-one conversation with somebody, then I can go more into depth in terms of what they can expect the results to be. But what I want this message to initially do is just pull out the women who are, you know, overwhelmed, stressed, stuck. They want to grow the business, but they're doing everything. So it has a lot more going on in it. So in some respect, it's actually much more difficult because it's got a lot of moving parts. It's not the same as a signature system. I take them through a process, you know, they have to do different steps. I can get them in the headspace of doing that and deliver on the results. But this has got quite a lot of results in it, a lot.
I'm sure it
But
does.
yeah, for me, financially, it just, I think from the six-figure thing that I was doing, I'm just like, it's not right for me. It's just it's just not aligned because it's not what's important to me. The important thing is that people are making an impact and growing the business. The money is a nice add-on.
Mm.
You know, it's a nice to have. Of course, we all want to make money, but it's not. I don't want to work with people who just want to make money. I think that's the answer. I don't want to work with people who just want to make money.
Mm.
I want to work with people who want to make an impact and make money, not just make money.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And it makes a lot of sense now because I know that you're somebody who has had that financial success. So
Yeah.
there is no money story going on here. It's about what is more important to you after
Yeah.
achieving it.
Yeah. And I have spent and I've invested a lot of money working on my money mindset. And you'll constantly work on your money mindset. You can't not, otherwise you just get financially stuck. So I've done a lot of work around that. So I just get it. I'm not frightened to talk about money at all. That's the important thing. I think when people are frightened about talking about money, then there's an issue. There's a problem. It's not going to flow. I'm quite happy to talk about money.
I love that.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Just not in this.
Oh, this
Yes.
has
So
been, yeah.
hang
Go
on.
ahead.
The other question was about results.
Yes, for people who don't have monetary results to quote.
Yeah. So I was working with a client, I think it's the beginning of this week, and she's working within a corporate organization, and she's not focused in on the money. She's focused in on team performance and the senior management taking more of a collaborative leadership style. So that's how you measure the results. How is the team performing? Whatever results they decide to come to, whatever that is. But in her message, what she's saying is that her managers by the end, I can't remember her message, but basically her managers by the time she's finished working with them will be able to lead collaboratively, and they will have a team that consistently overperforms. So those are the results. That's not about money, but that is about your managers are going to have a new leadership style, and they are going to overperform on what they were doing before. So that's the result, which has nothing to do with money.
Mm.
And then they would measure that by whatever it is that they discuss in the conversation. But you won't go into detail in the message. You would just say, you know, I think she said something along the lines, I can't remember. I'd have to get her to send me the message. If you are, say you're a health coach and you are, you know, doctors are coming to you because they're stressed, overwhelmed, tired, the relationship with the family is broken down, they're not eating healthily. You can measure that in terms of their health, in terms of their relationship with their family. So there's lots of different ways that you can measure it, which you would agree, again, with the client. I mean, it's as easy as, in terms of measuring, not to make it really complicated, a scale of 1 to 10 is my favorite. Where do you sit on that scale of 1 to 10 when you first start working with someone? Where are they each month? How is it increased? Why is it decreased? You know, that's a result, that's a measurement. But in the actual message itself, you would be talking about what it is that they want instead as being the result. So if they want, you know, less stress, they want to have more time with the family, better quality relationships, they want to be healthier, have more energy, they're the results. It's basically the flip of what it is that they're struggling with.
Yeah,
but you want to make sure it's in their language. So they're the results. And you can deliver on those, absolutely. But people get really frightened to talk about the results. And they shouldn't be. Because if you are good at what you do and you put the steps in to help people go through that process, then they're going to get the results. Yes, they have to do the work, of course, but you structure the program in such a way when you work at this level with someone that they will get the results.
Yes.
Yeah, so don't shy away about talking about results. There's so much fear around. I don't know where it comes from, talking around results. So a couple of weeks I was having a conversation with a client and she was saying she had all of this, but what if this and what if that? And I said, okay, this is just to start with, this is just fear playing out. I said, what you need to do is write down the what if sentence that you've got going on in your head, and then just think about things that you can do to scrub that what if out. So what are the things that you can do to put your mind at rest, that you can handle it, you know, you can find a way of working with it so that what if doesn't exist anymore? Because there are lots of things you can do if you have a what if going on, playing out. You know, what if they want me to do this? Well, this is how I work, this is what I deliver on, this is what I can do, this is what we can do. You know, so there are little steps, little strategies that you can put in place to get rid of, to help you manage the fear. But that is just fear.
Yes, I absolutely agree. It is fear. In my messaging, I shied away from using the word "I'll help you make more money" for so long because there was fear coming into the picture. What if somebody says, "I didn't make more money"? But then the fact is, if they do the work, there is no way they wouldn't make more money. They would share their stories, they would step up, they would be more impactful speakers. And when people show up and are visible, it's bound to result into money.
Yeah. Let's take it down another layer. What will money give them? So what will that money give them?
Mostly freedom. I think freedom is a big one that is associated with money. Self-worth, feeling of worthiness.
Yeah. So it's like going under it at another layer and coming at it from a different angle. What is that going to give them? Because it it may not even be money for them. It might be those other things that you're talking about, like what's underneath it, the freedom part.
Yeah.
Money, I always think, is the icing on the cake, even though that seems to be the thing that drives most people. It's almost like we've got it the wrong way around.
My change in messaging was very interesting because it was intangible first. I was talking about helping people be seen and heard. And then at some point, for some reason, I've got to make it more tangible. So I started talking about more tangible results. Then I did some more work on myself.
Yeah.
And I came back to, well, being seen and heard is so much more powerful than anything else. And then I started talking about things like, I went back to being seen and heard, which happened during the lockdown, because that's when I took some more coaching. And I started talking about safety, because that's one big thing in my work. I help you feel safe, even when you are sharing your vulnerable story. It has to feel right for you. The story has got to be soulful for you. And I think they're just so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're selling it, though, when you're looking to sell it and pull in people, it's the bit after that as well. It's like, why do you want to share your story? What is that going to give you? So if you want to get a promotion, if you want to, be seen as more of a leader, if you want to help other people that have had a particular experience. So it's always the bit that's underneath that as well. Yes, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. As we change, our messaging changes. It should change.
I know. I don't know how many times I've reinvented myself. This is another time.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much for coming and talking to us, and wish you loads and loads of good luck with the new program that you're launching. Before we let you go, tell us, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is to just track me down on Facebook, because we are in Facebook, post in Facebook. Look for Wendy Kier, send a connection request, and we can just connect that way. Nice and easy and straightforward.
You are also a member of this story tribe. So when we finish our conversation, will you be kind enough to drop whatever relevant links are just underneath this video?
Yeah, I'll do that. And if anyone's got any questions, if you're watching this on the replay, if you've got any questions, just come back to us. We'll both be more than happy to answer them for you.
Absolutely. Any questions? Oh, we love questions.
Have you ever had other people coming in and asking questions?
Other people, what do you mean?
Yeah, so because this is Zoom, you can send out the link and ask other people to come in and join and ask questions.
No, this conversation is always between the expert and me.
Okay.
And everyone else watches as the audience.
I like that. Brilliant.
Makes it more manageable.
Yeah, exactly.
Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was a minefield of information. Really, really valuable information. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, as always, talking to you.
It's been a pleasure too. I'm going to stop the live recording now.